Hey guys, Dr. Decks here. Sorry about the background noise if you hear that. We're doing a little bit of spring cleaning while we're shooting some videos today. All right, so today I want to talk to you about a new tool I just received. It's called the Pica marker. And if you like what you see, or you've never heard of Pica marker, or even if you had and you really dig their products, let us know down below in the comments. Also, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We really appreciate that. Like our videos, and don't forget to, what's the last thing? So Pica makes a wide variety of different marking utensils. They're high quality, they're German made, and they have different types of lead for different types of marking. They also make ink and crayon style permanent markings as well. So what Pica did was they sent me a variety of carpentry type markers that they thought would be very useful for what I do for a living. So we're gonna put them to the test. We're gonna put them up against the infamous Dr. Decks pencil and a guest star block lotter pencil. This is mint. I don't know if I even want to cut this. This might be worth something someday. We'll see. We're gonna mark on things that mostly deck builders would mark on. My main concern when I talked to Pica was, will it mark on wet pressure treated lumber? That's really what I need your product to do. Wet pressure treated lumber and PVC. And they said, doctor, we got your back. We're gonna send you some stuff. You check it out. As you can see, I have not opened any of these packs. So this is gonna be a very unbiased review on this product, okay? They sent me a ton of lead. The first thing we'll talk about is the Pica Dry, and this is an accuracy pencil. So this pencil comes with a sheath. It has its own built-in sharpener. You pull it apart like this, and this sheath stays put in your apron, in your pocket, on your shirt, whatever. And then this is the actual marking pencil, and it's spring-loaded. So when I push this button right here, the lead will extend out, just like a mechanical pencil. Okay? Then when I push it in, I can actually retract the lead as far as I want. If it's not sharp enough, which I personally don't like a super sharp lead when you're trying to mark lumber, because it digs in a little too much. I like a little bit of a dull tip. So I'm not gonna sharpen this, but you can see right here, you would just extend the lead a little bit, stick it into this, and twist this, and it'll totally sharpen your pencil. This is a really cool product. When I'm marking around posts or notching deck boards, I'd probably use this one more for PVC decking than I will for lumber, but we'll see. Time will tell. This is an initial review, and I'll probably get into some other reviews as time goes on. They also sent me a carpenter pencil version of their smaller Pica pencil, and this is called the Pica Big Dry, and it's basically a long life construction marker. So when you pull the sheath off of this one, you can see the lead. It's the same idea, retractable. You push in, you can retract the lead. It's more of a traditional sized lead that you get inside of a wood pencil like so. Maybe even a little bit wider, which is kind of nice when you're trying to make those fat marks. Again, same concept. You can push on the spring, hold it in, you can pull it back, you can withdraw it. So when you need to get into those narrower places, you could actually extend the lead, which is kind of nice, because usually sometimes you can't get those marks you're looking for. The lid comes off and you can load extra lead into the hopper like this, I think. I might be lying to you, maybe not. Maybe it's just one lead at a time. Wow, that's pretty long. Look how long that lead is, man. Let's see if we can load it from the back. I'm just curious. I'll be doggone. Look at that. Okay, so it looks like you can only load one at a time, and I don't know if you can see this. I can see through that. So you do have to load the lead one way. Let's try to load it sideways. If you load it sideways, it only goes in an inch. But if you turn it, it drops all the way in. Now you got your lead loaded, then you just spring it a couple times, and there you go. Now you're ready to rock. Another cool feature about this pen has a little bit of sandpaper right on the end of the sheath, so you can sharpen your end a little bit if you want. I want to make mine deadly. That way when Nas is acting up, I can stab him. Very nice. All right, so that's how that works. So let's go back to this little guy. I want to kind of check it out the same way and see if it, I'm sure it will, but we can pull the cap, pull out the lead. Now these are round. The leads for the bigger marker are rectangular, but these leads are round. And again, they're pretty long. So I'm gonna drop this in and then push on the end, and there you go, it loads. So pretty efficient. And these sheaths are cool. I was wearing one the other day when I was messing around with these, and you just drop it on and lock it in, and pretty stable. So their other offerings are they sent me a couple lumber crayons, and they call these permanent marking. And oh, okay, I get it. These twist. Nice. So we will use these for concrete work when we're trying to cut concrete. These are called Pica Visor Permanent. So they sent me a red one and a blue one. You know, it's about the same length as a standard lumber crayon that you get at like Home Depot or whatever. But I'm kind of curious to see how well they hold up, which I probably won't get into these today. We'll try marking up a couple of boards with them, some wet boards, because that's really the one thing that I'm really interested in, is how well do these leads mark up pressure-treated hemlock. I mean, that's what I'm all for. That's what I'm trying to get at, right? So let's find out. All right, so I'm just gonna use the leads that are included in these pencils, and then we'll start getting into some of these different colors. We'll bust out, open all these, and we'll do some quick testing on each color. All right, so here we go. So the first thing I'm gonna do is, I don't use this very often. This is probably gonna be easier to mark. All right, so I'm gonna mark up some pressure-treated smooth boards first, and I'm just gonna use the Pica stuff, and then I'm gonna use my pencil, and then we'll go ahead and sharpen up a block ladder pencil. There. See? Nice mess. Okay, so there's the block ladder. We'll get into that in a minute. So here we go. So here's the Pica Dry Accuracy pencil. All right. There's one line. Pretty good. I can see that pretty good. And then if we mark it a couple times, that's a very accurate line. Okay, now let's try the carpenter pencil right next to it. Okay. If you sharpen it, like I did with the sandpaper on the end, it makes a pretty fine line. This is good enough for me as far as accuracy when I'm laying out joists. That's primarily what I use pencils for, is mostly for joist layout. When I'm trying to identify a joist marking, I'm usually laying out a mark and then I put an X after it. So now here, we'll do a crayon. A little bit fatter line. Not terrible. I can see that getting worse though as the tip of this wears down. Okay. There's blue, which actually shows up kind of nice. If I could keep that tip, that might not be a bad thing. Now here's the drdecks limited edition drdecks pencil. Okay. Which isn't as noticeable. I guess that's not bad. And then here's a different graphite lead from Block Ladder. That's one draw. Two draws. Okay, so I don't know from your angle what you guys are seeing, but I'm seeing these are a little bit darker than these, which is kind of what I'm looking for when I do a layout. But let's say, okay, doctor, what if I screwed up my layout? Usually I'm spitting on boards and rubbing to try and erase these. So I think what I'll do is I'll go grab a wet towel and we'll see how much these can be erased. All right, so sometimes you make a mistake and you got to change your layout, right? So I want to see how well this stuff erases. I know Pica makes a different lead that will erase easier than some of their other leads will. So I have a wet towel. And we're going to try this on PVC because I know that my pencil does not erase very well on PVC. All right, so here's the Pica. Okay, so it didn't erase that great. I'm pretty sure the crayon is not going to erase. Well, none of them erased great because I actually drew through these 3 times, so we kind of grooved the boards out a little bit. So there you go. It doesn't erase quite as good as a standard carpenter pencil will, but I know that they have a lead that does. All right, so there's your smooth pressure-treated hemlock. Now we're gonna get into a wet piece. It's fairly wet, it's not soaking wet. A little dirty, make it a little wetter. This is like maybe your standard construction grade stuff, all right? So we're just gonna go through and do the same thing. Here's your accuracy lead marker. We'll do 2 swipes on each one, okay? This is probably the one I'm going to be using most of the time because I'll burn through these little leads a lot faster. Now I'm going to do one of mine. I really can't tell much of a difference. This lead, my pencils seem to be a little light, in my opinion. So the cool thing, I think, when you start getting into, okay, well, it's a fancy pencil. I get these pencils for free. Why would I spend, you know, whatever amount of money on these other marking devices? Well, it's all about quality and accuracy, really. Like I said before, this pencil has a crack in it, and you can see it, right? That pencil's not going to last very long. It's going to fall apart, and what happens is, as this pencil falls apart, the lead gets weak, and then the lead will come out, and then you're done. This pencil's done, you throw it away, you use another one. But what I'm interested in really is trying out some of these colored leads to see how they show up on lumber. So these are carpenter leads for dry timber, it says. Rich application, extra long. Now what I'm gonna do is put some marks down on some PVC decking just to see what it does to that and how it performs on that. Now, we are gonna go through some of the other colored leads in a minute. So let's just get this part out of the way and then we'll get into that. All right, so here we go. So there's PVC with the fine, and here's a standard carpenter pencil Pica. All right, and then my pencil. And block lotters. All right. So, again, very similar. I think the Picas are a little darker. Let's see what happens when we try to erase them. Okay, I still see a little bit of block lotters line. A tiny, tiny bit of mine, but the Pica one's erased, which is kind of what I'm looking for when I'm trying to mark out something on the surface. I don't want to leave a whole lot of lead, and even if I'm cutting or scribing or something like that, it's kind of nice to have something that'll go away. And usually on detail work, I'm going to be using this guy. And they did send an entire pack. So this is, the graphite in this pack are hardness of H. At least it erases some. Again, if you're looking for that super detail point, you can see now that the tip of this is really dulled out. PVC is actually really rough on lead, okay? So if the lead's super soft, you're gonna burn through it pretty quick. I do burn through a few pencils when I'm marking up a lot of this because you're going against the grain of the PVC and it's durable. So I might go ahead and sharpen this up a little bit just to give it a little bit nicer tip. There we go. So I don't want it super duper, but I want it fairly accurate. All right, so those are your 4 lead markings on PVC. Now, what I'm kind of curious is, now Pica sent me a refill of their standard carpenter leads, but I think they're all the same, so I'm not going to get into those. But what's interesting about the rest of these they sent, they're for different materials. So this one's the graphite. I think that's what's in here right now, so I'm not going to use that. But these 3, this one is water soluble, so it wipes clean for almost all surfaces. So this one I'd be interested in to see how well it erases. This might be a good one to have on the site. This one here is water jet resistant, so it's more of a permanent lead. And then this one is for high temperatures. Stable up to 7 degrees Celsius. That's pretty warm though. So these are for use in summer heat. Great, which it's winter right now, so I don't know. I guess we could compare them and see. This video is getting a little long, so let's just get on with it. So I'm gonna pull the lead out. Let's start with these. These are the water soluble ones. And let's go with red. Red on PVC. That's 1 line. That's 2. All right, here we go on wood. There's 2 marks on wood. Pretty bright. And I took a decent clip off the end of this. I think it's mostly because of the PVC though, not so much because of the lumber. All right, so these are supposed to be water soluble, so I've got a wet towel right here. That erases pretty good. Erases really good off of PVC. Hey, I like it. It erases really good off pressure treated. So they actually have graphite color as well. So that's going to be something I'm probably going to use for layout because it goes away. So the water soluble would definitely be a good investment. Now let's do the water jet resistant. So these are supposed to be more of a permanent mark. There's your white on PVC. And there's your white line on wet pressure treated lumber. I don't know if it's supposed to be dry for wet cutting. So I would assume this is something we would use when we're cutting tile, pavers, things like that. It's more of a waxy, I think. Okay, let's see how it erases. This towel was brand new a few minutes ago. So I'm giving a pretty good clip on that, and it is staying on the material. So that's good. That's a good thing. If you're on a tile saw and you need to see where you're cutting, that's something you would want. And I can still get most of that line out, but it's still showing up. So if you wanted to mark up wet lumber, I would say this would be a good option for that. All right. So the only other thing I got left is the summer markers, which, you know, we'll go ahead and try them out. So here's the summertime graphite. I tell you what, guys, as I start using this pencil, I'll do some more reviews on it as I use it more, in case we find some more information about these or something we like or don't like about them. Okay, there's your summertime on PVC. And there's your summertime on wet. But just for giggles, I'm going to flip this board over as well, because I think it's pretty dry over here. And let's give a dry mark as well, just see how that works, because that felt really good as far as marking goes. And that's very visible. I probably could have got by with just one line with that. It's not quite as prevalent, but it's still plenty. You're still going to be able to see that. Okay. All right. That's staying on there pretty good. PVC, it comes off pretty easy. But look at that, that permanent mark. It stayed on pretty good. Well, guys, that's a lot of information to process in one video, so I hope you liked it. Thank you for staying the whole duration. I really appreciate that. If you like what you saw, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that bell icon to be notified when we're putting out new content. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.